The sea whispers. The wind carries stories of adventure, discovery, and passion. This is Portugal, a land of explorers, poets, warriors, and dreamers. A country where history is written in the waves, in the streets, in the hearts of its people. In this story, you will travel through time. You will walk the streets of Lisbon, hear the sorrowful songs of Fado, and taste the sweet pastéis de nata. You will sail with brave explorers into the unknown, stand on the cliffs of Sagres, and feel the power of a nation that once ruled the seas. You will meet heroes, Prince Henry the Navigator, who dared to look beyond the horizon, Vasco da Gama, who found the path to India, Luis de Camões, who wrote Portugal's greatest epic, Amalia Rodrigues, whose voice carried the soul of a nation, Cristiano Ronaldo, who conquered the world of football. Each chapter will take you deeper into Portugal's past and present. You will feel its struggles, its triumphs, its unbreakable spirit. The words will paint pictures in your mind. The sounds will bring history to life. And as you listen, as you read, you will not only discover Portugal, you will practice your English, improving your understanding, your vocabulary, your confidence. This is more than a story. It is a journey of learning, of adventure, of inspiration. Are you ready? Then let's begin. Chapter 1. A small country with a big story. Portugal, a land of explorers, poets, and kings. A place where history whispers through the cobbled streets and where the Atlantic Ocean stretches beyond the horizon. A small country, but with a story as vast as the sea. Close your eyes. Imagine standing on a golden beach. The waves roll gently, touching the shore like they have for thousands of years. The air is warm, carrying the scent of salt and adventure. The sun begins to set, painting the sky with shades of orange and gold. This is Portugal, a land of beauty, mystery, and discovery. But where is Portugal? Look at a map of Europe. On the western edge, where land meets sea, you will find it. A small nation bordered by Spain to the east and the Atlantic Ocean to the west. From the north to the south, Portugal is full of contrasts. Green valleys, rolling vineyards, golden beaches, and ancient cities. A country shaped by the past, yet always looking forward. The Portuguese people have always listened to the sea. For centuries, they watched the waves and wondered, what lies beyond? It was here, on the cliffs of Sagres, that a great dream was born. A dream of exploration, of new worlds, of adventure. But before we set sail into history, let's take a step back. Who are the Portuguese? Where did their story begin? Thousands of years ago, before there was Portugal, different peoples lived on this land. The Celts, the Romans, the Moors. Each left their mark. The Romans built roads and bridges. The Moors brought knowledge, music, and new ways of farming. But in 1143, something changed. A man named Afonso Henriques led a great battle. He won, and Portugal was born. A new kingdom, a new future. Over time, Portugal grew stronger. Castles rose on hills, protecting towns and villages. Churches and palaces were built, decorated with golden tiles and grand designs. Life was not always easy, but the Portuguese were strong. They had something special, a spirit of adventure. And so, one day, they turned to the ocean. The 15th century arrived. The world was changing. Great ships set sail from Portugal's shores. Brave men, led by the stars, went in search of the unknown. They sailed beyond the edge of maps, past the borders of fear. Prince Henry the Navigator, Vasco da Gama, Ferdinand Magellan. Their names became legends. The sea was dangerous, the waves were high, the winds strong, but the Portuguese did not turn back. They found new lands. They brought back gold, spices, and stories. Portugal became powerful, its ships ruling the waves. But time moves forward. The empire changed, the world changed, and Portugal changed with it. Yet, even today, the past is alive. Walk through Lisbon, the capital, and you will see it, the great Belém Tower, standing tall by the river. The monastery of Geronimos, where the explorers once prayed. The streets of Alfama, where fado music fills the night air with longing and love. And it's not just Lisbon. Travel north to Porto, where the Douro River winds past ancient bridges. Visit Sintra, with its fairy tale castles hidden in the hills. Head south to the Algarve, where the cliffs rise high above the sea. Portugal is more than its history, more than its cities. It is a feeling, a place where tradition and modern life walk hand in hand, where old cafes serve strong coffee and fishermen still bring home the day's catch, where families gather around the table sharing laughter, stories, and of course, food. Ah, the food. The taste of bacalhau, Portugal's famous salted cod. The sweetness of pastéis de nata, warm custard tarts with golden crusts. The fresh seafood, the rich wines, the smell of grilled sardines in summer. Every dish tells a story, just like the land itself. And what about the people? The Portuguese are warm, welcoming, and proud of their heritage. They are poets, sailors, footballers, and dreamers. From Luis de Camões, who wrote epic tales, to Cristiano Ronaldo, who conquered the world of football. From the explorers of the past to the artists, scientists, and musicians of today. Portugal is small, yes, but its heart is vast. Its story is grand. Now, as the sun sets over the Atlantic, we take a deep breath. This is only the beginning. Ahead, more stories wait to be told. The sea calls, and Portugal's adventure is far from over. Chapter 2. The Age of Explorers. Portugal rules the seas. The wind is strong. The waves rise and fall, crashing against the cliffs. The sky is vast, endless, stretching beyond the horizon. It is the 15th century, and Portugal stands at the edge of the world. But not for long. The ocean is a mystery. No one knows what lies beyond. Some say there are sea monsters. Others believe the water will boil and ships will fall off the earth. But the Portuguese do not believe in fear. They believe in discovery. In the south of Portugal, in a place called Sagres, One man watches the sea with sharp eyes, Prince Henry, a son of kings, but not a warrior. His sword is knowledge, his battlefield the ocean. He dreams of ships sailing to unknown lands. He asks questions. What is beyond this horizon? Where does the sea end? He does not sail himself, but he builds something powerful, a school, a center for learning. Sailors, map makers, astronomers, all gather in Sagres. They study the stars, the winds, the currents. They design better ships, stronger and faster, called caravels. These ships are light, quick, ready to dance with the waves. And so, the great journey begins. One by one, ships leave Portugal's shores, south, toward Africa. They do not go far at first, only a little more each time. The unknown is dangerous, but it is also exciting. The coastlines grow familiar, the maps expand. The world is opening, piece by piece. In 1488, a brave captain named Bartolomeo Diaz faces the stormy sea. His ship is tossed like a leaf in the wind. The sky is dark, the water wild, but he does not turn back. He sails on, further than any Portuguese before him. Then, one day, the storm calms. The sun returns. The sea is different now, softer, warmer. He has done the impossible. He has found the tip of Africa, the Cape of Good Hope, a new path to the riches of the East. 10 years later, another man takes the next step, Vasco da Gama. He is not just a sailor, he is a man on a mission. He wants to find India, to bring back gold, spices, and knowledge. His journey is long, full of danger. Months at sea, sickness, hunger, storms. But he does not stop. And then, land, India, a new world, a new connection. He returns to Portugal with his ship full of treasures, black pepper, cinnamon, silk. The dream of Prince Henry has come true. The ocean is no longer a wall, it is a road. Portugal is no longer small. It is now a great power. Its ships sail to Africa, India, Brazil, and beyond. Ports are built, colonies founded. The world map changes, and Portugal is at the center of it. But one man wants to go even further. His name is Ferdinand Magellan. He has a question no one can answer. Can we sail around the world? The journey is dangerous. Many say it is impossible. But he does not listen. He gathers 5 ships and a brave crew. In 1519, they set sail. The journey is long. The sea is endless. They pass through storms, battles, hunger. They sail through the dangerous waters at the tip of South America, where waves rise like mountains. They cross the Pacific Ocean, a vast, empty world of blue. 3 years later, the journey ends. Magellan does not return. He dies in battle in the Philippines, but his ship, the Victoria, sails home. It is the first to travel around the entire world, a journey of courage, loss, and discovery. Portugal has changed history. It has connected continents. It has shown the world that there are no limits, only horizons waiting to be crossed. But time moves forward. The golden age of exploration does not last forever. New powers rise, new maps are drawn. Portugal's empire will change, its influence will fade. But the spirit of exploration, the thirst for discovery, will never disappear. Even today, the ocean is part of Portugal's soul. The great explorers are remembered in statues, in books, in the names of streets. The caravels are gone, but the stories remain. The Portuguese people still look to the sea, still ask, what lies beyond? And so, the adventure never truly ends. Chapter 3. The Portuguese Empire, from Brazil to the east. The sails rise, catching the wind. The ocean stretches endlessly ahead. The Portuguese ships, strong and swift, leave the shores behind. They are not just exploring anymore. They are creating something bigger, something powerful, an empire. It starts with trade, gold, spices, silk, treasures from distant lands. Portugal's explorers have found new routes, new places, and new riches. But trade is not enough. They need control. They need ports, cities, power. And so, the empire begins. In 1500, a ship sails west. The captain is Pedro Alvarez Cabral. He is heading for India, but the ocean has other plans. The winds push him far from his course across the Atlantic. One morning, land appears. A vast, green land. New, unknown, untouched by Europe. Brazil. The Portuguese step onto the shore. The forests stretch endlessly. The rivers flow deep and wide. The land is rich with wood, fruit, and life. But they are not alone. The indigenous people watch from a distance, curious and cautious. Two worlds meet for the first time. At first, Brazil is just a place for resources. The Portuguese cut wood, called pau-brasil, a tree with red dye used for fabrics. But soon, they want more. They build settlements. They bring sugarcane, a plant that will change everything. Sugar becomes gold. It is worth fortunes in Europe. Plantations grow. The work is hard. The Portuguese bring enslaved people from Africa to do it. Forced labor, suffering, injustice. This is part of the empire too. A dark shadow behind the wealth. Brazil grows. Cities rise. Salvador, Rio de Janeiro. The Portuguese language takes root. The culture begins to change, a mix of African, European, and indigenous traditions. Music, dance, religion. A new world is being created. But Brazil is not the only jewel in the empire. To the east, across the Indian Ocean, another land waits. Goa. Afonso de Albuquerque, a brilliant strategist, leads the way. He is not just a sailor. He is a man with a plan. He does not come to trade. He comes to conquer. In 1510, his ships arrive at Goa, a city of wealth and spices. The battle is fierce. Cannons fire, swords clash. The Portuguese win. Goa is now theirs. The empire expands. More cities, more ports. Mozambique in Africa, Malacca in Southeast Asia, the island of Timor, each place a key, a door to more trade, more riches. Then, further east, the greatest prize, China. The Portuguese arrive in the 16th century. They do not conquer this time. China is too strong, too powerful, but they make a deal. They are allowed to stay on a small peninsula. They call it Macau. Macau becomes a gateway between China and the West. Silk, tea, porcelain, all flow through this tiny port. A mix of cultures grows here. Chinese and Portuguese side by side, their traditions blending over time. For a moment, Portugal is at the center of the world. The empire stretches across continents. The flag flies high over lands far from home. Wealth pours into Lisbon, gold from Brazil, spices from India, silver from Japan, traded through Macau. But empires rise, and empires fall. The world is changing. Other nations grow stronger. Spain, England, the Netherlands. Portugal is small. The empire is vast, but difficult to hold. The Dutch attack the Spice Islands. The British take control of India. Brazil, the heart of the empire, grows restless. In 1822, it breaks free. Independence. Portugal's greatest colony is lost. Slowly, the empire fades. Goa returns to India. Macau becomes part of China. By the late 20th century, the last pieces are gone. The Portuguese Empire, once the first and the greatest, is now only history. But history does not disappear. The empire may be gone, but its mark remains. The Portuguese language is spoken by millions, from Brazil to Mozambique, from Angola to Timor. Traditions, architecture, food, all carry traces of Portugal's past. The empire is no more, but its story lives on in the people, in the culture, in the echoes of the past. And the sea that carried those ships so long ago, still whispers the tale of a nation that once ruled the waves. Chapter 4. Lisbon, the city of light and shadows. The air is warm. The scent of the sea drifts through the narrow streets. Sunlight dances on the rooftops, turning them gold. The river glows, reflecting the sky. This is Lisbon, a city of stories, of dreams, of memories. The streets of Alfama twist and turn like a maze built centuries ago. Clothes hang from balconies. Old trams rattle up the hills. Voices rise and fall in conversation, laughter echoing through the alleys. There is music here, but it is not loud. It is soft, gentle. The sound of fado. A woman sings in a small tavern. Her voice is deep, full of longing. The guitar plays, slow and sorrowful. This is the soul of Portugal, fado, a song of love, of loss, of saudade, the feeling of missing something, someone, somewhere. It is not just music. It is Lisbon's heart. But beneath the beauty, there is a story of pain. A day that changed everything. The year is 1755. It is morning. The city wakes slowly. Fishermen prepare their boats. Market stalls fill with fruit and fresh bread. Bells ring from the churches. Then, without warning, the ground begins to shake. Buildings tremble, then fall. Stones crash to the streets. People run, screaming, searching for safety. The earth moves like a great wave, rolling and breaking everything in its path. The city is crumbling, but the disaster is not over. Minutes later, fires begin. The wooden houses burn quickly. Flames rise. Thick smoke fills the air. Lisbon, the grand city of explorers, is disappearing into fire and ash. Then comes the final blow. The river pulls back, far, far away from the shore. The people watch, confused. The water is gone, but not for long. A great wall of sea, a tsunami, rushes back towards the city. It crashes over the land, washing away the ruins, the people, the past. When it is over, silence falls. The Lisbon that once stood is gone. Thousands have died. The heart of Portugal is broken, but not defeated. From the ashes, a new Lisbon will rise. A man steps forward. The Prime Minister, the Marquis of Pombal. He does not stop to grieve. He does not hesitate. He looks at the destruction and speaks. Bury the dead, feed the living, rebuild the city. And so, the work begins. Streets are planned, straight and wide. Stronger buildings are designed, with walls that will not fall so easily. Lisbon is reborn, stronger than before. The city of light rises from the shadows. Years pass. The new Lisbon grows. Along the river, a great tower stands, Belém Tower. Built in the time of the explorers, it has seen kings and sailors, poets and prisoners. It has watched the waters rise and fall, whispering the stories of the past. Nearby, another monument tells the tale of Portugal's golden age. The monument to the discoveries. Tall, proud, shaped like a ship ready to sail. The faces of great explorers carved in stone, Prince Henry, Vasco da Gama, Ferdinand Magellan. Their eyes look forward, always toward the horizon. At night, the city sparkles. The lights reflect on the water, shining like stars. The streets fill with life. Cafes hum with voices. The scent of grilled sardines drifts from open doors. The old trams, painted yellow, continue their slow climb up the hills. Lisbon is a city of contrasts, old and new, light and shadow, memory and hope. It has suffered, it has fallen, but it has always risen again. Today, visitors walk where history was written. They stand on the stones where kings once walked. They listen to the music, taste the food, feel the spirit of the city. Lisbon is not just a place. It is a feeling. It is the sound of waves against the shore, the warmth of the sun, the quiet sadness of a fado song. It is a city that remembers its past, but moves forward with strength. The light still shines on Lisbon, and the shadows, they only make the light brighter. Chapter 5. Porto, the city of bridges and wine. The river moves slowly, deep and strong. The hills rise on both sides, covered with houses, red roofs shining in the sun. The scent of the sea drifts through the air, mixing with something sweeter, the rich aroma of port wine. This is Porto, a city of history, of beauty, of tradition. The streets climb steeply, winding between old buildings. Some are painted bright blue, others yellow, red, white. The tiles, azulejos, decorate the walls, telling stories of the past. Every corner holds something new, something unexpected. A small cafe, a hidden courtyard, a church with golden altars. Down by the water, the Douro River flows like a ribbon of silver. Boats rest along the banks, their wooden hulls reflecting on the surface. These are rabelos, the boats that once carried barrels of wine from the vineyards to the city. The river was the road, the lifeline of trade. Now, the boats are still, but their history lives on. Above, bridges stretch across the valley, connecting one side to the other. The most famous, Dom Luis River Bridge, stands like a great iron giant. Designed by a student of Gustav Eiffel, it is a masterpiece of engineering. People walk across, stopping to look down at the city below. From here, Porto is breathtaking. But the city is not just stone and water. It is taste. It is warmth. It is the spirit of its people. In cellars beneath the streets, the barrels rest. Inside, the wine ages, deepens, changes. Port wine, sweet, rich, powerful. A drink known across the world, but born here, in these hills, under this sun. Across the river, in Vila Nova de Gaia, the wine lodges wait. Dark, cool rooms filled with history. Visitors come to taste, to learn. Glasses are raised, ruby, tawny, white, each with its own story. The flavors dance on the tongue. Smooth, warm, unforgettable. But Porto is not just wine. It is books, it is stories, it is magic. In the heart of the city, a bookstore stands, Livraria Lello. More than a bookstore, a legend. The wooden staircase curves like waves, red carpet soft underfoot. Shelves rise high, filled with books that whisper adventure. The light falls through stained glass, painting colors on the floor. It feels like stepping into a dream. The city hums with life, the sound of voices, music, laughter. At night, the lights reflect on the water, golden and soft. The cafes fill with people. The smell of grilled fish, of fresh bread, of coffee drifts through the air. A plate arrives, francesinha, a sandwich, but more than a sandwich. Layers of meat, melted cheese, rich sauce, a touch of spice. It is heavy, strong, like the city itself. Every bite is warmth, comfort, tradition. Porto has known change. It has seen wars, revolutions, hard times, but it has always stood strong. The walls of the old city tell the story. The churches, the markets, the river, all hold the memory of the past. On the hill, the Clerigos Tower rises. Its bells once called sailors home, its shadow stretched across the streets below. Those who climb its steps are rewarded, a view like no other. The city at their feet, the river beyond, the sky stretching far. There is something about Porto, something quiet but powerful. It is not a city that shouts. It does not demand attention. It simply exists, strong and steady, waiting for those who take the time to see, to feel, to taste. The river keeps flowing. The bridges still stand. The wine continues to age. And Porto, with all its beauty, all its history, all its soul, remains. It is a city to remember. A city to return to. A city that stays with you long after you have left. Before we begin, Chapter 6, a quick note for our listeners. You're currently listening to this audiobook on WooEnglish. Remember, this content is specially made for WooEnglish listeners only. If you're hearing it on any other channel, it may be a violation of WooEnglish's rights. Please ensure you're tuned into the right source to fully enjoy and respect this audiobook journey. Now, let's continue the story. Chapter 6. Traditions festivals, and the soul of Portugal. The streets glow with lanterns. The sound of laughter fills the air. Music plays, feet move, voices sing. Portugal is alive, full of color, full of rhythm. This is a land of traditions, of festivals, of moments that bring people together. Fireworks explode in the night sky. A sea of bright colors, of golden sparks raining down over the river. In Porto, the São João festival has begun. It is June, and the city celebrates. People carry plastic hammers, tapping each other on the head. A strange tradition, playful, full of joy. Paper balloons float into the sky, drifting higher and higher, carrying wishes with them. Sardines sizzle on the grill. The scent of fresh bread and roasted peppers drifts through the air. The music never stops. The night belongs to the people. Further south in Lisbon, another festival lights up the summer. The Feast of St. Anthony. The city becomes a stage, a celebration of love, music, and dance. The old neighborhoods, Alfama, Barro Alto, are filled with decorations. Green, red, yellow, colors of happiness. Couples marry in the traditional way, a gift from the city to those who wish for a future together. The streets are crowded. The sounds of guitars and drums fill the night. The spirit of Portugal is here, in the songs, in the laughter, in the warmth of the people. But Portugal is not only summer. Winter has its own magic. On the island of Madeira, Carnival arrives, a parade of masks, costumes, shining lights. Music flows through the streets, drums beat like a heartbeat. The dancers move, wild and free, celebrating life. A festival of dreams, of escape, of endless energy. In the north, another tradition is waiting. In December, the town of Abados transforms. A Christmas village appears, straight from a fairy tale. Wooden stalls sell chocolate, sweets, warm drinks. Lights cover the castle walls, turning them golden in the dark. The air is cold, but the feeling is warm. Yet there is one sound, one tradition that belongs to Portugal alone. A song, a voice, a story. Fado. In a small tavern, a woman stands on a dimly lit stage. Her eyes are closed, her voice deep, full of sorrow, full of longing. The guitar strings tremble. The song begins, a slow melody, heavy with emotion. This is not just music. This is a feeling, a memory, a piece of Portugal's heart. Fado is sadness, but it is also love. It is the story of sailors lost at sea, of mothers waiting, of dreams that never came true. It is the sound of saudade, the Portuguese word for missing something deeply, for longing without end. Amália Rodrigues, the queen of Fado, once sang of this feeling. Her voice, rich, powerful, unforgettable, carried Portugal's soul across the world. Even today, in the darkened rooms of Lisbon, her music lives on. But Portugal is not only songs of sorrow. There is another sound, another dance, full of life, full of joy. Los Ranchos Folclóricos, groups dressed in bright skirts, embroidered vests, moving in circles, stepping to the beat of traditional drums. This is the music of the villages, the sound of the fields, of harvests, of celebrations that have lasted for centuries. The traditions of Portugal are as old as its history, as deep as the ocean that surrounds it. Some come from the land, others from the sea. Some are joyful, others full of nostalgia. But all of them tell the same story, the story of a people who never forget where they come from. A festival ends, the lights fade, the music slows, the streets empty. But the feeling remains. The spirit of Portugal does not disappear. It lives in the voices, in the memories, in the quiet strum of a guitar. And tomorrow, another celebration will begin. Chapter 7. Portuguese food, a feast by the sea. The air is filled with the scent of the ocean. The waves crash softly against the shore, their rhythm endless. Somewhere nearby, the smoky smell of grilled fish drifts through the streets. A man turns sardines over hot coals, their silver skin crisping under the flame. A woman places fresh bread on a table, its crust golden, its warmth inviting. This is Portugal, a land of explorers, of poets, but also of food. Every meal tells a story. Every dish carries history. The flavors of Portugal are shaped by the sea, the land, and the journeys of those who once sailed across the world. The Portuguese love to eat, to gather, to share. The table is a place of tradition, of family, of laughter. A plate arrives, bacalhau, salted cod, the most famous dish in the country. They say there are more than 1,000 ways to cook it. Baked, fried, grilled, in a stew, with potatoes, with eggs. Each family has its own secret recipe. The fish, preserved with salt, was once the food of sailors, carried on long voyages. Now it is a national treasure, eaten at celebrations, at Christmas, on ordinary days, and special ones. The waiter brings another dish, caldo verde, a warm green soup made with potatoes, kale, and slices of chorizo. Simple, comforting, perfect on a cold night. A bowl of tradition passed down through generations. In the markets, the smell of fresh seafood fills the air. Octopus, clams, prawns, all taken from the waters that surround Portugal. A fisherman carries his catch, his hands strong from years at sea. The ocean gives, and the people create. A pot bubbles on the stove. The rich aroma of spices drifts through the kitchen. Cataplana, a dish from the Algarve where the sun shines bright and the water is blue. Clams, shrimp, tomatoes, garlic, white wine. Everything cooked together in a copper pan, sealed, full of flavor. The first bite tastes of the sea. The baker's shop is warm, filled with the scent of sugar and cinnamon. Behind the counter, golden pastries sit in neat rows. Pastéis de nata, small custard tarts, their tops caramelized, and their crusts flaky and crisp. A secret recipe, born in a monastery long ago, now loved across the world. One bite, and the sweetness melts on the tongue. Further north, in Porto, another specialty waits. Francesinha, a sandwich, but unlike any other. Layers of ham, steak, sausage, covered in melted cheese, topped with a rich, spicy sauce. A meal for the hungry, a dish with a soul. At the table, glasses are raised. A deep red wine swirls inside, rich and smooth. This is Portugal's pride. Port wine made from grapes grown in the Douro Valley, aged in barrels, perfected over time. Sweet, strong, unforgettable. Across the country, the flavors change. In the mountains, the meats are smoked, the cheeses are thick and creamy. In the countryside, fresh olives, rich olive oil, golden honey. On the islands, tropical fruits grow under the sun, bananas sweeter than anywhere else. But it is not only about the food. It is about the moment, the gathering, the long lunches, the late dinners, sitting outside, the sound of voices, the feeling of time slowing down. In Portugal, meals are never rushed. They are savored. The streets of Lisbon are alive. A waiter calls out from a cafe, inviting people in. A grandmother stirs a pot in her kitchen, humming an old song. A fisherman cleans his nets, thinking of the meal waiting at home. Food is more than sustenance here. It is tradition, culture, memory. It is love. The sun begins to set. The scent of grilled sardines lingers in the air. A glass is filled once more. A pastry disappears in a single bite. The feast never truly ends. Tomorrow, it begins again. Chapter 8. Portugal. Today, a modern country with ancient roots. The sun rises over Lisbon. The river glows in the soft morning light. The city, once the home of great explorers, wakes to a new day. Trams rattle through the streets, carrying workers, students, tourists. The old and the new move side by side. Portugal is changing. Once it was a country of sailors and poets. Now it is a land of innovation, of technology, of new ideas. The past is here in the stones of ancient castles, in the melodies of fado. But the future is here too, in the towers of glass and steel, in the voices of young entrepreneurs shaping the world. The capital hums with energy. In offices, people work on startups, developing apps, designing the future. Lisbon has become a hub for digital nomads, for creative minds, for those who dream beyond borders. The city welcomes them with open arms, offering history, culture, and a lifestyle that balances work and pleasure. But it is not just Lisbon. Porto, Braga, Coimbra, each city has its own rhythm, its own story. Universities filled with students from across the world, markets buzzing with fresh ideas, streets alive with conversation, with laughter, with possibility. In the south, the Algarve shines under the bright blue sky. The beaches stretch for miles, golden and endless. The waves rise and crash, calling to surfers from every corner of the globe. Portugal is now a surfing paradise, a place where adventure meets relaxation. The ocean, once feared by sailors, is now a playground. Tourists arrive in every season. Some come for the cities, walking through Lisbon's winding streets, climbing Porto's steep hills. Others seek the countryside, the vineyards, the quiet charm of small villages where life moves slowly. Portugal's beauty is no longer a secret. It is one of the world's top destinations. But modernity does not erase tradition. In small cafes, old men still sit with their morning coffee, reading the newspaper. In village squares, Families gather for festivals that have lasted for centuries. The flavors of Portugal remain unchanged: grilled sardines, fresh bread, rich wine. The heart of the country beats steady and strong. Technology and sustainability shape the future. Wind turbines turn on the hills. Solar panels glisten in the fields. Portugal leads the way in clean energy, in protecting its land, in looking forward. The rivers are clean. The air is fresh. The people understand the value of nature. Music festivals bring new sounds, blending fado with rock, pop, electronic beats. Artists paint the walls of cities, filling them with color and expression. Fashion designers mix the old and the new, crafting a style that is uniquely Portuguese. Football remains a passion. The stadiums roar with excitement. Cristiano Ronaldo, the country's greatest star, inspires young players to chase their dreams. The spirit of competition, of excellence, is alive in every corner of the nation. The economy grows, bringing change, bringing challenges. New businesses rise, opportunities increase, yet some still struggle. The old ways meet the new, and not everyone moves at the same speed. But Portugal is resilient. It has faced hardships before. It always finds a way forward. Even as it modernizes, the soul of Portugal does not change. The warmth of its people, the beauty of its landscapes, the depth of its history, these things remain. The country looks ahead, but never forgets where it came from. As the sun sets, the city lights begin to glow. The cafes fill once more, the music plays, the waves continue to kiss the shore. Portugal stands at the edge of the future, proud of its past, ready for what comes next. And tomorrow, another chapter begins. Chapter 9. The Portuguese Spirit, a people of resilience and discovery. The waves crash against the shore as they always have. The wind whispers through the hills, carrying stories of the past. Portugal is more than a country. It is a feeling, a force, a spirit that refuses to fade. Through centuries of triumph and struggle, its people have stood strong, facing the unknown with courage, with heart, with determination. They have always looked beyond the horizon. When the world seemed small, they dared to believe it was vast. When others feared the ocean, they embraced it. The spirit of discovery, of adventure, of endless curiosity lives in their blood. It is the legacy of those who came before, of those who changed history. In the 16th century, a poet sat by candlelight, writing words that would never be forgotten. Luís de Camões, the voice of Portugal, the man who gave the nation its epic. The Lusíads, a story of heroes, of explorers, of the nation's greatest journey. His words carried the pride of a people who had conquered the sea, who had dared to dream beyond their borders. Even in exile, even in hardship, his poetry remained strong. His sight was lost, but his vision never faded. He wrote not just of the past, but of the soul of Portugal itself. Centuries later, another voice rose. A voice not of words, but of song. In the streets of Lisbon, in the dimly lit taverns, a woman stood before the crowd. Her presence filled the room. Amalia Rodriguez, the queen of Fado. Her voice, deep, full of longing, told the stories of sailors lost at sea, of mothers waiting for their sons, of love that could never be returned. She did not just sing, she felt. Her music was more than sound. It was emotion, pure and raw, the essence of saudade, that unique Portuguese feeling of love, loss, and longing. The spirit of Portugal is not just in music, in poetry, in history. It is also in the heart of the athlete, the warrior, the competitor who refuses to give up. The world knows his name, Cristiano Ronaldo. From the small island of Madeira to the grandest stadiums on earth, his journey was never easy. A boy with a dream, a talent, a fire inside him. He ran faster, trained harder, fought for every goal, every victory. He rose again and again, becoming one of the greatest footballers of all time. His name is sung by millions, his achievements celebrated across continents, but his roots remain. No matter how far he goes, he carries Portugal with him. These are just names, just people. But they are also symbols. Each one represents something greater, the passion, the resilience, the unbreakable will of a nation. They are not alone. Portugal has given the world explorers, writers, leaders, artists, names that shaped history, that inspired generations. Even in hardship, even in loss, the Portuguese spirit never fades. Wars, earthquakes, economic struggles, nothing has broken them. They rebuild, they adapt, they continue forward. The past is always with them, but it does not hold them back. It pushes them forward. The land itself tells the same story. The cliffs of Sagres, standing strong against the waves. The rolling vineyards growing rich under the sun. The quiet villages, where time slows but never stops. The cities, alive with movement, with voices, with dreams. At the heart of it all, the people, warm, welcoming, proud. They share their food, their music, their stories. They invite the world in, but never lose their identity. They celebrate their past, but look to the future. They remember their roots, but always reach for something more. Portugal is not the largest country. It is not the most powerful. But its spirit is vast. It has touched the world, shaped history, left its mark in places far from its shores. The journey is not over. The adventure continues. The sun sets over the Atlantic. The waves keep moving. The wind keeps blowing. And somewhere, a new story is beginning.